What's up, and welcome back to the greatest teacher of all time, where I, Quincy Dawson, interview teachers of color to highlight their philosophies, strategies, and personalities. Today, I've got Joy with me. What's up, Ms. Lou?
Hi, great to see you again.
Yeah, man, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. 5 years ago, we were at the same school together, huh?
Yes, it felt like it was just yesterday.
Yeah, man. Well, it's great to reconnect with you.
Mhm.
So yeah, you're a math teacher right now. But I wanted to talk to you about a couple of things, but I'll just jump right into it. The first thing I want to get into is this Instagram post from a page called Black Educators Connect, and it's called 10 Life Lessons You Can Learn from Teachers. So I'm just going to read through all these real quick. So it's starting with hard work pays off, give respect, get respect, teamwork brings great reward, always make smart decisions, we can't control everything, change is inevitable, you can become anything you want, always stay true to yourself, never be afraid to make mistakes. And number 10, in the end, you control your own life. So, Joy, you're an educator, you're a teacher, you've been doing this for a while. Do any of those stick with you?
Absolutely. The part where you can be anything you want in an era where we are feeling we are not capable, we're not good enough. I hope that those who read that, both even as an adult or a child, that they could be anything they want. And it goes off with number one, hard work pays off. Um, the behind the scenes, what they say is like it's the little things that get you to greater accomplishment. Be happy that we have an opportunity to do the little things, to go towards our goal, because it's that journey that will help hone our skills, hone our experience, meet people that could shape our lives, and to be able to feel we can be the best version of ourselves. And yeah,
Yeah. No, super important. It's like being a role model, like you're showing these
yes.
things all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I think it's so cool how like students are like so impressionable just being in the classroom. I know for me, it's somehow like stuck or implanted in my brain that I remember in my third grade classroom, Mrs. Walk's class,
Yeah.
right? There was a poster that said self-control, knowing you can, deciding you won't.
That's amazing. That's a great quote, I think.
Right?
Very
And it
applicable even till now. Yes.
seriously, and the thing is, back in third grade, like those were just some words on a poster. Like I didn't know like what that actually meant, but like seeing that in the classroom, what the teacher like made for like their they like made their classroom this vibe, right? That
Hmm.
I don't know, it just stuck with me. And that's like something I still remember today. Is there anything like
Yeah.
that from you growing up that your teachers just like implants in your brain?
Absolutely. It's really amazing. And you brought it up that if you ask anybody what's their favorite teacher, everyone seems to have a vivid memory. They may not remember what they did yesterday, but they do remember their favorite teacher. And I could tell you my favorite teacher was second grade, Miss Garcia. And what she had taught me was to be curious. And that's something I'm trying to impart with my current students. Be curious. I want students to ask other people and be curious. I want teachers to be curious about their students. That's how you grow like empathy. That's how you grow uh, interest, students' interest, and being able to then um, be able to incorporate into your lesson, and it becomes more engaging. So just being able to ask questions, I think, uh, to be curious and ask questions, the art of asking question has been instrumental. And I think being able to teach that um, for students. And that has been one thing that my favorite teacher, second grade, um, in uh, in anything in life is just to be curious.
Yeah, and that's so cool. It's like these little tidbits of like messaging that really stick with us, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
like I don't remember that biology lesson from 2 years ago, but I
Mhm.
remember this quality this teacher told me about. That's so cool.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and
And
another
then
one just thinking of right now, the poster in back of you, the Snoopy. Another one of
yes.
the posters in that 3rd grade class was Lucy, holding a glove, like a baseball glove with the ball on the floor, and it just said, "Nobody's perfect."
Love it.
Right? It's like
Love
those
it.
little things.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And so maybe continue to go on this, right? So we
Mhm,
know role models come in all shapes and sizes, right? But
mhm,
getting into this article on the website called, oops, where it is. Oh, teachforamerica.org, right?
mhm,
Someone named Jessica Fergny wrote this
mhm,
article called Students Benefit from Having a Teacher Who Looks Like Them. Here's how, right? So
mhm,
um, maybe just to admit it right now, the school we were at in the past, most of the students did not look like me or you,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Did you feel any difference or anything like that from students benefiting from a teacher who looks like them or doesn't look like them?
So it's been very humbling because I think it's realizing while there were no students that look like either one of us, representation for them is key. But I would also like to say diversity is key. I think I'm glad they saw you and me because when they graduate from that high school, they will be interacting with people. And being able to see that early on is just as important as students feeling seen by teachers who look like them. So I think it's a blend of both. They're both important representation that they see someone who can be a role model because they have the same upbringing, same they came from the same city, or they understand and it's relatable, and also with recognize that diversity amongst staff is just equally important because that's what, especially in this metropolis cities that we live in, there's a lot of different um, just background and just different people with different ideologies and thinking. It's like, okay, how can we be how can we be in this place harmoniously? It's starting in high school, even earlier.
Yeah, I like that. I like what you're saying about they get to see that different types of people can work together, right? Like it's
Hmm.
okay to have a
Hmm.
black teacher like Mr. Dawson and a teacher like Mr. Magillon and a teacher like Miss Liu just working together and being friends.
Absolutely. Because you're right, high schoolers are impressionable. They see how we interact. And I think that's why you and I have fond memories of the school that we taught because there was such a cohesiveness and mutual respect amongst the staff. And I think the teenagers deserve to see that. They need to
Yeah,
see that. Mhm.
right. They need to. They need to. And with you saying the representation matters, I've said this to other teachers in the past, but I think it's important for them to see me as a black teacher where they think, oh, a black person does not have to be in a gang. A black person does not have to be a rapper, right? Do
Exactly.
you see it the same way with you being a teacher?
Yes, absolutely. I see it as a teacher, I do not have to be a certain stereotype, and that we could break that and teach them, still maintaining the core values of who I am, to be able to celebrate variety of cultures and race and normalize it for, and being able to see or demystify any stories
Mm,
and tell them this is my story. This is like my upbringing. You, I found out in the past we all have similar stories in a sense, like immigrant. I would tell them I'm an immigrant just like you. Our parents were really wanted the best, so they were strict, just like you. So being able to bring that in shows them that we can be relatable, even though we may not have the same skin tone. We understand and we want to learn. If we are not in the same, if we don't have it similar, it's okay. I want to learn. Another thing is I want to encourage them to be storytellers. So to make them not worry, like, am I going if I'm going to embarrass myself, I'm too shy to talk about it. It's okay. We need to be storytellers so that we can amplify representation. We can amplify students sharing their story, especially in the high school setting.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And just making them feel comfortable sharing those stories too, huh?
Mhm.
Yeah. One other thing I kind of wanted to touch on was back to the title of the article and just the article in general
Yeah.
talking about students benefiting from someone who looks like them, right? It talked about how they're able to have like different types of connections or deeper connections.
Mhm.
With students who I don't look like, right? I found that I had other connections, and I think my superpower at the time was that we were so close in age, right? Like 5,
Mhm.
6 years apart from some of these seniors, where I didn't have to go far to figure out what they were interested in because they were
Mhm.
naturally mutual interest, right?
Mhm.
Do you think you have anything else that you can lean on maybe as a crutch for students who don't look like you and connect in those ways?
Yes, I love talking about pop culture. Just like you, I
Yep.
love pop culture, and that's something that I love incorporating into any math class and even in conversation, or simply asking, "How are you doing? I noticed you were listening to that music. Tell me a little bit about that artist." And I or ask open-ended questions to get to know them. So I think my superpower would be pop culture, and it has benefited both of us. And yes, so that I think has was able to bridge a lot of connection and positive rapport with the students.
Yeah, that's a really good one, really good one. I remember we got to share notes or something, or maybe you remember back at that school we were at. I had all of my tests would follow a storyline about Drake and Rihanna and Nicki Minaj, right? Yeah, so that
Yes,
kind of shows the
yes.
timepiece also, right? But yeah, we got to share notes. I got you.
Yes, yes. And even like right now, how I organize the team of four, groups of four, they're all BTS songs, but I
Ooh,
don't tell them. But I ask them, what do they all have in common? And I could tell, like some people and some of the students, and sometimes they're the shy ones. They're like, "Miss, are these songs from BTS?" I was like, "You got it." So it's a little bit of connection, and then we started conversations, and that's how you get to know students. And when they feel safe, when they feel like they are seen, and they feel like their opinions, their interests matter, best believe they'll start coming to class on time. They don't want to miss it. They don't want to miss learning.
yeah. They also don't want to miss that BTS reference,
Exactly. Yes. Just like
right?
you and Drake. Yes.
There it is. There it is. So yeah, maybe going on to that, right? And how you're making these connections to the students. I want to talk about how you connect to the math, right? Connect the math to the students. So with me, for example, I've admitted this in school, I did not do any homework. I didn't do any type of reading or anything like that. It wasn't until I actually got to college when I actually like started doing my work and it really clicked for me. But with math specifically, math didn't exactly click for me until after college, like grad school, learning like more about the theory behind it. How do you get your students to connect with it at a young age?
So I'm a big proponent of making quick connection to real life.
Quick,
And
okay.
by doing that is first getting a survey of what typical teenagers would like. So, for example, right now, Algebra 2, we're talking about exponential growth and decay. Yeah, that sounds like a snooze fest. But then I presented to them, how many of you would like to own a new or used cars? You get a lot of people raise their hand because they're juniors and seniors. I'd say in and within the next 5 years. Let's talk about payment. How many of you can pay upfront in cash? Hmm. Okay, well, let's see what the payment plan is. So that and having them actually do calculation will lend itself to logarithmic equation, exponential decay, what happens if they miss payment. And I found out that math is very relatable because It's a great avenue for financial literacy, which many of them have experience or want to learn about money management. So that's what I've noticed how I sneak in a little bit of math, but I also teach them real life application, including what these are the mistakes that are happening right now. People are not making payments. The the debt is continuing to grow. What advice would you give to your neighbor? Because they did not take Miss Lou's class. You're in Miss Lou's class. You're the smarter one. What advice would you give to your neighbor so they don't feel defensive or they feel bad? I'm making a bad payment. Make it so that they become the expert. And that's how I bring in math, that they feel empowered, that they see real math application, and they take a complicated math problem and they actually enjoy the challenge and struggle because they know they will get some end goal out of it.
Yeah, dude, Joy, I really like that in taking the math, right? And then getting it conceptually and saying, what advice would you give using this
Yes.
concept? That's a really good. I'm gonna use that. That's really good.
Yeah. And then sneak in the actual math lesson that you want to learn. Because again, and you and I know this, in order to capture the kids' attention, it has to be relevant to them.
Yeah.
Because probably the number one question we hear from most high school students are, when will we ever use math? And this way they will answer that question.
Yeah, they answer it. Dude, I love it, Joy. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. Again, thank you for sharing all this, Joy. Your thoughts on diversity in the classroom, the 10 lessons from teachers, and also how you make these math connections are some of the reasons why I think you might be one of the greatest teachers of all time.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity, Mr. Dawson, and it's great to see you again.
Yes, always, always. And also, with the support of Transcendence Children and Family Services, I want to present to you this $100 prepaid gift card to use with your classroom, with your students, and things like that.
Oh, thank you so much. That was such a sweet surprise. Thank you.
Yeah, I
It'll be
got you, Joy.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So after the cameras go off, I'll get your address and everything so I can figure out a way to mail this to you. But again,
Wonderful.
thank you, Joy. You deserve it.
Oh, thank you. Great seeing you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you to everyone else for watching The Greatest Teacher of All Time, where I, Quincy Dawson, interview teachers of color, tie their philosophies, strategies, and personalities.